I sat on the edge of the bed, phone glowing in my hand, boots still on. It was almost midnight. My back ached, my head throbbed, and all I wanted was Ava's voice saying, "I'm on my way." "You still at work?" she had asked earlier. "Yeah," I said. "Just one more hour." "I'm trying, Ava." She never replied. Now the room felt smaller. I scrolled without thinking, my thumb moving out of habit. I told myself not to check again. I checked anyway. "There," I whispered. Finally. The message sat there, short and clean, like it didn't know how badly it would hurt me. I read it once. Then again. "I'll be at Jake's tonight. Accept it or leave." I laughed under my breath. "That's a joke," I said. "That has to be a joke." I typed fast. "What do you mean?" The dots didn't appear. My chest tightened. I stood up, then sat back down. "Okay," I said to the empty room. "Breathe. Don't panic." I remembered Ava's voice from weeks ago. "I would never hurt you," she had said. "You're my safe place." I believed you, I whispered. Jake's name burned on the screen. Jake, who drank with me on Fridays. Jake, who said, "You're lucky, man. Don't mess this up." "Are you serious right now?" I typed. Nothing. I leaned back and stared at the ceiling. "You're tired," I told myself. "You're reading it wrong." My phone buzzed. My heart jumped. "Ava, I'm not fighting tonight." "That's not an answer," I said. "That's not anything." I typed again. "Why Jake?" I deleted it. I typed, "Are you cheating on me?" Delete. My hands shook. "You promised," I said out loud. "You promised we'd talk." I could hear her laugh in my head. "Stop overthinking," she always said. I tried not to, I whispered. I really tried. I scrolled up through old messages. "We're a team. I choose you. I hate sleeping without you." My throat closed. "So this is choosing me?" I asked the phone. The screen stayed silent. I stood and paced. "Say something," I said. "Yell at me. Lie to me. Just don't do this." Nothing. I sat again and typed slowly. "If you walk away like this, it changes everything." I stared at the send button. My mind kept racing. Maybe Jake was sick. Maybe she needed space. Maybe I was the problem. "I work too much," I said. "I know that. I'm trying to fix it." I remembered her last kiss. "We're okay," she said. "No," I whispered. "We're not." The phone buzzed again. "Ava, don't make this dramatic." I felt something crack inside me. "I gave you my trust," I said. "That's not drama." I typed a reply. My thumbs hovered. "I deserve respect." I didn't send it. I typed another. "I love you." Delete. The room felt cold now. Too quiet. I looked at the message one last time. "Accept it or leave. Those are my choices?" I asked. My cursor blinked, waiting for me to decide. I stared at it, frozen, knowing whatever I sent would end something I was still trying to save. I sat there longer, listening to my own breathing. "You always said honesty mattered," I told the screen. "You said lies were your deal breaker." I imagined her rolling her eyes. "You're too sensitive," she would say. "Maybe," I answered. But I stayed. I opened Jake's chat and closed it. "I won't beg you," I said. "Not tonight." My phone felt heavier. "If I send this, there's no going back," I whispered. I typed one last line, my heart pounding with every letter. "I won't chase someone who already left." I stared at the words, my thumb shaking above send, afraid of the silence that would come after. I erased it, then typed it again. "This shouldn't be so hard," I said. My chest felt tight. "I trusted you with my worst parts," I whispered. The clock ticked loud in my ears. "Just explain," I begged quietly. No answer came. I stared at the blinking cursor, stuck between leaving and staying, knowing this moment would follow me forever. I didn't send anything. I couldn't. My screen dimmed, waiting, the choice still mine. I sat frozen, fingers numb, heart loud, knowing whatever I chose would break me first. I closed my eyes and breathed, the message still unsent, the night still unfinished. I stayed there, alone with my phone, waiting for courage or collapse. Neither came. The cursor kept blinking. I watched it, helpless, as time slipped. My reply waited. So did my pain. Nothing moved. Everything changed. I never hit send. The silence answered for her. And that terrified me. More than anything before. I just sat. Breathing. Waiting for the end. Or the truth. I lay on the couch with my phone on my chest, staring at the ceiling, letting memories play without permission. This wasn't always broken, I whispered. It used to be easy. I remembered the first time Ava smiled at me and said, "You're different." I laughed and asked, "Good different or boring different?" She said, "Safe different." I held on to that word like it was a promise. "You still believe in promises?" she asked me once. "I believe in us," I said. We met at a coffee shop. She spilled sugar everywhere and said, "I'm nervous." I told her, "Me too." We talked until the lights dimmed. She said, "I feel like I've known you forever." I believed her without question. Jake came later. "So this is the guy," he said, shaking my hand. "You look harmless." I laughed. "He's harmless," Ava said. "That's why I like him." Jake smiled wide and said, "You're lucky, man." He started showing up more. "Mind if I crash?" Jake asked. "Just tonight." I said, "Anytime." Ava added, "He's family." I nodded. I always nodded. I noticed little things. Ava would say, "My phone died," when I called. Jake would say, "She was busy," when I asked. I told myself, they care. Don't be insecure. One night I asked, "Why didn't you answer?" Ava sighed. "Do we have to do this?" I said, "I just missed you." She replied, "You're overthinking again." Jake jumped in. "Relax, bro. You're good." I trusted him. "If something was wrong, you'd tell me, right?" I asked. Jake looked straight at me and said, "Always." There were looks I pretended not to see. Ava would laugh softly at his jokes. Jake would lower his voice when I entered. I told myself, friends do that. I told myself a lot of lies. One evening Ava said, "I need space." I asked, "From me?" She said, "From everything." Jake said, "Give her room." I listened. I always listened. "She's not like that," I defended her to myself. "She chose me." I remembered her words. "I hate cheaters," she once said. I'd never be that person. I believed her because I wanted to. I replayed moments I brushed aside. Missed dinners. Short replies. Jake saying, "She's asleep," while she was online. I told myself, love means trust. "Do you still love me?" I asked her one night. She paused and said, "Why are you asking that?" I said, "I just need to hear it." She replied, "You're exhausting." Jake laughed awkwardly. Man, relationships are hard. I laughed too, even though my chest hurt. I thought loyalty meant patience. I thought silence meant peace. I thought effort meant sacrifice. I can handle this, I told myself. I'm strong enough. Now the apartment stayed quiet. No footsteps. No keys. I checked the time and said, she should be home. The clock answered instead. I stared at the door and whispered, "Please walk in." My phone stayed dark. My heart felt heavy. I finally admitted the truth I avoided all night. "I may already be alone," I said. I just didn't want to see it. I remembered asking Jake, "You think she's happy?" He said, "She smiles around you." I asked, "Is that enough?" He answered, it should be. I accepted that answer like it was truth. Ava once said, "You don't fight for me." I said, "I fight quietly." She rolled her eyes. "That's not the same." Jake said, "Women like passion." I nodded, even though I didn't understand. There was a night Ava dressed up and said, "Girls' night." I asked, "Should I worry?" She smiled and said, "Don't be cute." Jake texted later, "She's safe." I replied, "Thanks, man." I ignored the tight feeling in my chest. Trust means letting go, I told myself. Control ruins love. Those words became my shield. I asked Ava, "Are we okay?" She said, "We're fine." I said, "You sound tired." She replied, "You make me tired." Jake pulled me aside once and said, "Don't push her." I asked, "Am I losing her?" He said, "Only if you keep asking." I stopped asking. I replayed her laughter, his closeness, my silence. I helped this happen, I admitted. I taught them I wouldn't speak. The night stretched longer. I checked the door again. "She's not coming," I whispered. The truth settled slowly. I sat alone and said, "Love shouldn't feel like this." The room didn't answer. Ava still wasn't home, and for the first time, I felt the space where she used to be. I stared at my phone and said, "If I keep waiting, I disappear." The silence felt final. "Maybe this is goodbye," I whispered. My chest tightened as I finally accepted the truth I avoided all night. I stayed still, breathing, listening, learning, hurting. I sat in the dark apartment with the lights off, listening to the clock tick. "She should be home by now," I said. The silence answered me instead. I checked my phone again. "Nothing," I whispered. Her message stared back at me, unchanged, cruel in its calm. "I'll be at Jake's tonight." I read it again like the words might soften. I typed, "Are you okay?" She replied minutes later. "Yes." "That's it?" I said. "That's all you have for me?" I typed, "When are you coming home?" She answered, "I don't know." My chest tightened. "You always know," I said to the screen. "You plan everything." I stared at the door, listening for footsteps that never came. "Say something real," I typed. Her reply came fast. "Don't do this." "Do what?" I asked. "Care?" I waited. My hands shook. I typed the question I kept avoiding. "Are you with him?" The dots appeared, then disappeared. Minutes passed. My heart pounded so loud I thought I might pass out. Finally, she wrote, "I told you where I am." I laughed, broken and sharp. "That's not an answer," I said. "That's a warning." I texted back, "Have you been lying to me?" She replied, "I can't talk right now." "That's been your answer for weeks," I whispered. I sat on the floor and leaned against the couch. "I feel stupid," I said. "I feel small." I typed again. "Do you love me?" There was a long pause. "Too long." She wrote, "I don't want to fight tonight." I felt my throat close. "I'm not fighting," I said. "I'm asking." I looked around the apartment. "We built this," I whispered. "We chose this place together." My phone buzzed. "Please stop," she wrote. "Stop what?" I asked. Expecting honesty? I dropped the phone beside me and pressed my palms to my eyes. "I can't breathe," I said. I picked the phone back up and scrolled to Maya's name. "Don't cry," I told myself. "Not yet." She answered on the second ring. "Hey," she said. "What's wrong?" I tried to speak. Nothing came out. "Maya," I whispered. "Oh no," she said. "Where are you?" "At home," I said. "Alone." "What happened?" she asked. I swallowed hard. "She didn't come home." There was silence, then Maya said softly, "Is she with him?" I broke. "I think so," I said. "I think she chose him." "I'm so sorry," Maya said. "I feel like I'm disappearing," I told her. "Like I never mattered." You matter to me, she said. You always have. I pressed my forehead to the wall. I trusted them, I said. Both of them. I know, Maya replied. And that's not your fault. I keep replaying everything, I said. Every excuse I made for them. Maya sighed. You loved honestly. That's not weakness. It feels like it is, I said. You don't have to stay there, she said. You can come here. I looked toward the bedroom. If I stay, I said, I'll watch her walk in like nothing happened. You don't deserve that, Maya said. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. I don't think I can face her, I said. Then don't, she replied. I hung up and stood slowly. Just breathe, I told myself. I grabbed a bag and started packing without thinking. Only what matters, I said. I paused and looked at the door one last time. If you come back, I whispered, you won't find me waiting. My phone stayed silent. I picked up my keys and said, I can't break here. I opened the door and stepped out, leaving the apartment dark behind me. I didn't look back. I pulled my bag from the closet and dropped it on the bed. Only what I need, I told myself. Nothing else matters right now. I picked up a shirt and laughed quietly. You said you liked this one, I muttered. I threw it in anyway. My hands moved fast, but my chest felt slow and hollow. The door opened behind me. So you're really doing this, Ava said. I turned. You said accept it or leave. She crossed her arms. I didn't think you'd be so dramatic. Dramatic? I asked. You didn't come home. She shrugged. I needed space. At Jake's? I said. That space now? She sighed like I was exhausting her. You're overreacting. I stared at her. You couldn't even say sorry? For what? She asked. I didn't do anything wrong. I felt my jaw tighten. You disappeared, I said. You let me sit here all night. She rolled her eyes. I told you where I was. With him, I said. That matters. She stepped closer. Nothing happened. I laughed once. You don't have to explain, I said. Your tone already did. She shook her head. You always assume the worst. I assumed you cared, I replied. That was my mistake. She looked at my bag. So what, you're leaving? For now, I said. She scoffed. Running away won't fix anything. I'm not running, I said. I'm choosing myself. She went quiet. You're really serious. I've never been more sure, I said. She looked away. You're making this bigger than it is. I zipped the bag. You made it big when you stopped choosing us. She didn't answer. She just watched me walk past her. My phone buzzed as soon as I stepped outside. Jake, hey man, heard things are tense. You okay? I stared at the screen. Don't pretend, I whispered. Jake, I just want to make sure you're good. I typed, you should have made sure of that earlier. I deleted it. Instead, I put the phone in my pocket and kept walking. Maya opened the door before I knocked. Come in, she said. You look wrecked. I dropped my bag. I didn't cry, I said. I don't know if that's good or bad. She hugged me. You don't have to be strong here. I don't feel strong, I admitted. I feel empty. She pulled back. Do you want tea or silence? Silence, I said. Just sit with me. We sat on the couch. My phone buzzed again. Jake, Ava's upset. You didn't have to leave like that. I laughed without humor. Of course she is. Maya glanced at me. Him? Yeah, I said. Acting worried. She shook her head. Block him. Not yet, I said. I don't want him thinking he still matters. Another message came in. Jake, you know I'd never hurt you, right? I felt something hot twist in my chest. You already did, I whispered. Maya touched my arm. You don't owe either of them anything. I know, I said. But part of me wants them to feel it. That's normal, she said. Just don't let it turn you bitter. I nodded. I won't beg, I said. I won't explain myself again. My phone buzzed once more. Ava, we need to talk later. I stared at the words. Later, I said. Always later. Maya watched me. What are you going to do? I took a breath. Nothing, I said. For once. I opened my contacts and hovered over their names. This hurts more than I thought, I admitted. Maya said softly, pride isn't a bad thing when it protects you. I deleted Ava's number. Then Jake's. I didn't block them. I just erased the space they took in my phone. I set the phone face down. If they reach out, I said, they'll have to mean it. Maya nodded. You're doing the right thing. I leaned back and closed my eyes. I walked away with nothing, I said. But at least I walked. The room stayed quiet. For the first time, the silence didn't feel like punishment. It felt like distance. And I needed that more than answers. I woke up before my alarm and stared at the ceiling, feeling nothing and everything at the same time. Get up, I told myself. Lying here won't fix you. At work, Ethan glanced at me and said, you look like hell. Good morning to you too, I replied. He leaned back. Rough week? Something like that, I said. He nodded. You still showed up. That counts. I shrugged. Does it? It does, he said. Most people disappear. Later, I sat alone during lunch, scrolling without thinking. Ava's face appeared on my screen, smiling beside Jake. My chest tightened. Don't react, I whispered. Not today. Ethan sat across from me. You good? I'm fine, I lied. He looked at my phone. X? Something like that, I said. He said quietly, silence is strength sometimes. After work, I dragged myself to the gym. I almost turned around, but a voice called out, you joining or watching? I looked up. Joining, I said. Nora handed me a towel. I'm Nora, she said. I'm tired, I replied. She smiled. Good. That means you showed up. She watched me struggle through warm-ups. You think too much, she said. I'm good at that, I replied. She said, then think about lifting, not hurting. Between sets, she asked, why are you really here? I hesitated. I'm trying not to fall apart. She nodded. Then don't quit. Days passed quietly. Ethan kept saying, you're steadier. I answered, I don't feel it. He replied, feelings lie. At the gym, Nora corrected my form. Stand taller, she said. I don't feel strong, I told her. She said, strength doesn't ask permission. One night, I saw another post. Ava and Jake again. Laughing. Close. Breathe, I told myself. They don't get a reaction. My phone buzzed. Ethan, you alive? I typed, still here. I stopped checking their pages. I stopped explaining myself. I started sleeping again. Nora said one evening, you're changing. I asked, is it obvious? She replied, only to people paying attention. Ethan added, you're not broken. Just rebuilding. I laughed softly. Feels slower than breaking. He said, that's how you know it's real. Weeks passed. The numbness eased into something quieter. Not happy. Just steady. I told myself, this version survives. Then my phone buzzed late one night. Ava, can we talk? I stared at the message, heart steady, hands calm. Of course now, I whispered. I didn't reply. Not yet. I was pouring coffee at work when Ethan said, "You hear about Ava and Jake?" I looked at him. No, he raised an eyebrow. They're fighting. I shrugged. That happens. Ethan leaned closer. Not like this. I didn't ask more. That felt important. At lunch, Leo dropped into the chair across from me and said, "Man, relationships are messy." I smiled faintly. They always are. He laughed. Jake's learning that now. I kept my voice calm. What do you mean? Leo waved his hand. Nothing serious. Just stress. I nodded and changed the subject. Inside, something stirred. Later, Ethan said quietly, "You're handling this better than most people would." "I'm not handling anything," I said. "I'm staying out of it." "That's strength," he replied. That night, Ava texted. "Can we talk as friends?" I stared at the screen. "Friends," I whispered. I typed back, "I think space is better." She replied fast. "You don't have to be cold." I answered, "I'm not cold. I'm honest." There was a long pause. Then she wrote, "I didn't expect this from you." I exhaled slowly. Neither did I. At the gym, Nora noticed my silence. "Something on your mind?" "Old noise," I said. She nodded. "Good. Let it stay old." Between sets, my phone buzzed again. "Ava, we didn't mean to hurt you." I closed my eyes. "Intent doesn't erase damage," I whispered. I didn't reply. The next day, Leo caught me by the elevators. "Jake's having a rough time," he said. "I hope he figures it out," I replied. Leo studied me. "You're calm." "I'm tired," I said. He laughed awkwardly. "Fair." That evening, Ethan texted, "You doing okay?" I typed, "Better than before." I wasn't lying. Another post appeared online. Not smiling this time. Just vague quotes about trust and mistakes. I scrolled past it. Not my story anymore, I told myself. Ava called. I watched it ring. I didn't answer. Minutes later, she messaged, "Please." I typed slowly. "I wish you well. I can't be part of this." The typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. No reply came. I sat on my bed and asked myself, why does this feel like winning? The answer scared me. At work, Leo said, "Jake misses you." I said gently, "Some bridges burn quietly." Leo frowned. "You sound different." "I am," I said. At the gym, Nora said, "You're lighter today." "Am I?" "You stopped carrying what isn't yours," she replied. That night, guilt crept in. Am I enjoying this? I asked myself. The thought made my stomach twist. I stared at the ceiling and said, I don't want revenge. I paused. I want peace. My phone buzzed again. Ava, I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust, I whispered. I typed, I accept your apology. I still need distance. She didn't reply. I set my phone down and felt the quiet settle. Not empty. Clear. I realized then that doing nothing wasn't weakness. It was choice. And for the first time, I chose myself without needing them to lose. I woke to a quiet buzz on my phone. My heart didn't leap. My hands didn't shake. I picked it up slowly and saw her name. Ava. Her message read, "Can we meet? I need to explain." I stared at it. For a long minute, I didn't type. My chest felt calm, not tight. My mind was clear. I whispered to myself, I've grown past chasing what wasn't mine. I typed back slowly, no. I didn't add anything. I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I didn't care if it stung. That was her problem now, not mine. The silence that followed was louder than any argument we had. She called almost immediately. I let it ring twice, then sent it to voicemail. Her voice left a faint vibration in the phone. I didn't answer. Then another text, please, just one meeting. For closure? I typed, closure isn't in your hands. She read it. I saw the little, seen mark. I imagined her fingers hovering over her phone, panicked, frustrated, maybe even desperate. That feeling once belonged to me. Not anymore. I got up and walked to the window. The city was quiet, the morning sun falling through the glass, painting everything in gold. I breathed it in, fully, like it belonged to me. It did. Another text came, I was wrong. I don't know why I did it. Can you forgive me? I sat down slowly. I let the words sit. They were heavy, but they weren't mine to carry. I typed, I forgive you. I won't forget. I'm moving forward. I didn't send it right away. I read it again. It was honest, final, and calm. That was my version of victory, clarity, not vengeance. Finally, I pressed send. And then I put the phone down. I remembered the nights I cried alone, the hours I spent replaying her messages, Jake's smirks, the hollow apartment, the heartbreak that felt endless. I thought of Maya's voice, steady and kind. You don't owe them anything, Hamza. I thought of Ethan and Nora, who reminded me that strength often shows quietly, without announcement. And I thought of Sarah, that small possibility in the corner of my life, a reminder that the future could be lighter, that people could be kind, and that I could trust again, cautiously but fully. I smiled faintly. I remembered myself when she first betrayed me, frantic, raw, desperate. Always reaching, always begging silently for explanations, for apologies, for answers that never came. Always letting others' chaos dictate my worth. Now, I was still. I reflected on how betrayal reshaped me. Not into someone bitter, but someone steady, aware, and unshakable. Someone who could sit with their own pain and still emerge unbroken. Someone who knew self-worth wasn't a gift from anyone else. It was mine to hold. The phone buzzed again. Jake this time. I ignored it. He had begged, pleaded, and shown me his regret weeks ago. I didn't need more reminders. My peace was not negotiable. Ava texted one last time, I hope you're happy. I typed in reply, I am. That was it. Nothing else needed. Nothing else mattered. I sat back and let my eyes wander to the small framed photo on my desk, one of a morning I had once shared with Ava, smiling, naive, and full of hope. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel sadness. I felt distance, clarity, and quiet satisfaction. I whispered to myself, this is what I earned. I thought about all the nights I feared I would never recover. All the moments I convinced myself love meant surrendering everything. And I realized, love could mean survival, too. Self-respect could be stronger than heartbreak. I remembered the shared songs, the old messages, the laughter now distant. Those echoes didn't hurt. They reminded me of how far I'd come, not what I'd lost. I looked outside again. The city moved, people hustled, lives collided. Mine felt fully my own for the first time in months. I didn't need them anymore. And in that clarity, I understood a powerful truth: betrayal can break you if you let it. But it can also teach you how to stand taller, how to trust yourself, and how to choose peace over chaos. I picked up my bag. I felt the weight of it, lighter than ever. I left the apartment with a calm step, a quiet chest, and a mind that didn't wobble. I smiled faintly at the sunlight, and whispered, I'm not broken. I'm stronger. I survived. I walked out into the world I had reclaimed, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't look back.